Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday used a highly anticipated speech to deny responsibility for the war in Ukraine and lash out at his adversaries. His comments come despite repeated rejections of Putin's narrative surrounding the war by Western nations and Ukraine. February 24th will mark 1 year since Russia mounted a large-scale invasion of Ukraine, beginning a ground war in Europe that Putin still refers to as a special military operation. Intense fighting continues across the war-torn nation with the death toll reportedly in the tens of thousands. In a more than hour-long speech, Putin tried to justify Russia's invasion by claiming it had been attempting to allow citizens in the contested Donbass region to speak their own language and had been seeking a peaceful solution. He cited the expansion of NATO and new European anti-rocket defense systems as provoking Russia, and said the objective of the West was infinite power. Putin also used the speech to announce Russia was suspending its participation in a treaty with the U.S., New START, that limits the two-side strategic nuclear arsenals. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said the military alliance urged Russia to reconsider the decision, Reuters reported. Stoltenberg also stressed that Russia was the aggressor, and said Putin had made it clear he was preparing for more war. He said support for Ukraine must continue and expressed concerns China was planning to back Russia in the war, according to Reuters. Russian government official Mikhail Ulyanov said on Twitter that suspension of New START does not mean withdrawal and return to the treaty was possible under certain circumstances. Putin further warned in his speech Russia could resume nuclear tests. The U.S. administration on Saturday formally concluded that Moscow had committed crimes against humanity during its year-long invasion of its neighbor. Political analysts say Putin's decision to invade Ukraine was the biggest mistake of his political career and has weakened Russia for years to come. Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 after a falsified referendum. The invasion was widely condemned by the international community and resulted in rounds of Western sanctions against Russian officials. Last year it also annexed 4 Ukrainian regions, Donetsk and Luhansk, which cover the Donbass region, and Kherson and Zaporizhia, which Ukraine and its allies also condemned as illegal and illegitimate. Putin on Tuesday discussed the Donbass, claiming the Kremlin saw threats increasing in the contested region ahead of the February 24th invasion. We had no doubt that by February 2022, everything was prepared for a punitive action in Donbass, where the Kyiv regime provided artillery and aviation and other weapons to attack Donbass in 2014. In 2015, they attempted again to directly attack Donbass. They continued shelling, terror, he said, according to translation. All of this was completely against the documents that were accepted by the United Nations Security Council. I would like to repeat, they started the war. And we used the force in order to stop it. Putin's State of the Nation address Tuesday was delivered in Moscow to lawmakers and military officials, and was also broadcast on state TV. Russia was looking to create a highway to Crimea, Putin said, and enact a program of social restoration to territories it claims control over. Ukrainian officials are defiant, however, with President Volodymyr Zelensky repeatedly insisting the country will not surrender to anything but a restoration of the country's pre-invasion borders and other conditions.